Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode 178. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
And what's going on? How are you?
Well, not much has changed lately.
I don't think a lot's going to change for now.
Nope,
The
nope.
foreseeable future will, but for now we're hanging in there.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm enjoying the major events that are moving from one room in the house to the other.
Sometimes you need to change a pace, you need to change a lifestyle.
What's
So
going
instead
on
of hanging out in
here?
the living room,
Woo!
oh, there you go.
See, earthquake.
You'll hang out. There you go. You'll hang out in the kitchen.
Exactly. And the kitchen is where I'm current. Well, that's where my setup is, kind of off the side of the kitchen. But yeah, no, I mean everything is going well considering I'm entering week 4
Okay.
of
Very good.
the stay at home.
I'm entering year 40, or I have
Yeah.
already entered year 40 of staying home. So
Yeah, and how was your first week of 40?
I wasn't bad. Everything's still kind of holding up. A couple new aches and pains. Just coming along with the territory, which I was expecting. My rage and anger maybe slightly higher now, but more of an old man level as opposed to just my usual. But no, otherwise, just so far so good. Admittedly.
Okay. Is 40 when they give you the right to say get off my lawn, or is there
I got to ask the expert, which is Frank. I
Yeah.
feel like that's more of a 45.
Okay.
Like a mid-level, a midlife crisis, kind of sort of. But
Mhm.
at 45, living to 90, we'll see. Uh, so we'll, but the progress continues here at this point for me though, with 40s. So we'll see. Once I re-enter the real world, then that will be a test.
Yes. And I think what you'll find is that nothing has changed.
No, for the most part, actually not. If so, we got behind me. If everyone's wondering, yeah, this is the logo for my other podcast, Cheap Plug, Talking More Wrestling.
Mhm.
Actually, we're literally in the middle of WrestleMania weekend, which is a 2-night event this year. So I decided to throw that up, doing a live stream watch along. By the time all of you get this podcast, that will be a few days removed, but nevertheless, successful last night. It's going to be successful tonight, and that's basically what. But next week, though, because I'm moving some things around, I should be back in the podcasting corner with the normal background and everything like that. So,
All right, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the pops just don't work for me.
Pops work amazing for me. I love Pops. Actually, I think I'm waiting for my Santa Claus to come in. Had a Santa Claus pop that they never shipped.
Oh,
So-
jeez.
A little late for this year, but for last year, but very early for this year. So this week, we're just gonna have some fun. Just gonna kind of you got a couple of news information here, some cool stuff. So if you just kind of shoot from the hip and take it from there.
Yeah, since the entire world is basically shooting from the hip at this point, why not?
Basically,
Why
yeah.
not us?
Kind of just slowing down, and so we're gonna catch up on some news because between we had 2 weeks talking about Castlevania, last week talking about the Video Game Hall of Fame. Some news kind of got past us, and we're definitely gonna touch on them and see where it goes.
Cool.
So this is what I mentioned real quick. So about a year ago, maybe we were talking about this new little retro system called the Evercade.
Yes.
It was coming in from England. It had like a ton lineup of it was interchangeable cartridges. Each cartridge had like anywhere between like 5 and like 10 games on it. And big name companies, Atari, Namco, Data East, stuff like that. I was checking the website this morning. Looks like the pre-sale, I don't know if it's been pushed or changed. Anything related to what's going on now, I don't know. But it looks like it's being released in May. But for this little system that has a lot of classic games on it, there are 2 newer games that are going to be released on the Evercade.
Ooh, do tell.
Which I will in a moment. And then I'm wondering now, is this with new games like this, with these 2 new games coming out, is this going to almost push this little tiny handheld into maybe a contender in a handheld market that really is kind of non-existent for the most part right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, handheld is basically, well, I mean, the Switch is kind of cornering the handheld market at this point. You really don't have any other companies. Well, you don't have the majors. You don't have Sony or
Mhm.
Microsoft really even attempting to go after that market anymore. Now, especially now that the what the Vita is done.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so it's basically just Nintendo and any other third party that wants to try and come out with something.
So what's going to be happening here is the Evercade. It's a dual game cartridge. So actually, these two games are going to be on one cart. Tanglewood and Xenocrisis.
Ooh.
Now, Xenocrisis was a Kickstarter that I backed originally. I highly recommend Xenocrisis. I mean, it plays exactly like Smash TV, but more of like an Aliens, like the movie, like Aliens type feel to it. Um, so I recommend Xenocrisis even now. Tanglewood, I'm not fully familiar with. I think it's from like the same company that worked on Xenocrisis,
Hmm.
Bitmap Bureau. And I think that's more me. Well, I can't go into details. I'm not sure what Tanglewood is. But here's what's kind of cool about these two games. So now Xenocrisis was released on the Switch, on the PS4. If you backed it on Kickstarter, you were able to get a Dreamcast version that worked on your Dreamcast,
Mm.
a Genesis version, like a cart, Neo Geo, maybe. I don't remember that much. But for this little Evercade, this Xenocrisis version is going to be kind of like the Mega Drive version.
Okay,
So,
that makes
so
sense.
yeah, no, Mega Drive, is again coming from England, so that's why it's called Mega Drive. And Tanglewood, which is a modern game, is kind of going to be developed, and I don't mean it's in a bad way, but with the limitations. Like they're holding back on some stuff to purposely design it for the Genesis, for the Mega Drive, to give it this physical release on the Evercade.
Okay. I mean, it sounds intriguing, but I think for me, at least if Evercade kind of wants to cross over outside of, the UK or Europe or wherever it plans to, be sold, I think they would need some really solid like solid new games. Like in other words, like what are they going to put out on
Well,
that
these
little
are
system?
solid new. These are brand new
Well,
games.
no. I mean, no. They were on other platforms. That's what I
Correct.
mean. In other words, like if you've got a Switch, if you've already got a Switch, you don't need the Evercade because those
Well, I
games are
mean that
available. That
that
that's
goes without
that's what I
saying.
mean. It's
Yeah.
like, are they ever going to have their own exclusives,
Oh,
basically?
okay, that's different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it was ever really designed for that. I think it was always designed, but this company just kind of had the opportunity
Mm.
to go with this. And because not only are they putting out that Xenocrisis Tanglewood 2 pack, looks like they're also putting out an Atari Lynx collection onto the Evercade.
Oh, see, now that's interesting.
Three, four, five. I can't tell which games they are, but it looks like. Oh, and I'm sorry, no, 17. So 17 Atari Lynx games will be released on the Evercade. Now that I think that's kind of because if you look at a lot of the games that were being released, a lot of Atari games, Namco, they're kind of designed for on-the-go gaming.
Mhm.
Xenocrisis is kind of like that. It's basically on the go. Tanglewood, I got to look up. But yeah, as far as exclusives, we'll see down the road. But I think right now, so far so good with this lineup that they have happening.
All right. Well, I mean, it sounds intriguing. I mean, me personally, I'm not going to rush out to get it because, again, my handheld issues. But
But we're here to talk about the positive of some cool these two cool
yeah,
games that'll be coming out on the system.
yeah, exactly. And for that alone, I mean, it's worth looking at, especially for people who enjoy handheld gaming. I mean,
Hmm.
it doesn't hurt, especially if you want to hit up some cool. And they have like you said, like they have a lot of retro collection cartridges coming out. So I think for that, it's at least worth taking a look at.
Ah, here we go. So the lineup for the Atari Lynx collection, just real quick, 17 games, and you can tell where the Lynx was in the lifespan of handheld games. I don't recognize any of these names. Scrapyard Dog, Basket Brawl, Super Asteroids Missile Command. I know that one. Awesome Golf, Crystal Mines 2, Cyber Virus, Dracula the Undead,
Ooh.
Gordo 106. Gordo was a good movie. Ishido, Wave Stones, Jimmy Connors Tennis, Loops, Malibu Bikini Volleyball, Mega Pack, Power Factors, Remnant, Super Squeak, and Zump, XUMP.
No idea.
Interesting. So, all right. So we'll see about this. So that's pretty cool because if you're ever looking to get a Lynx collection, well, there you go. With a better work system probably than a Lynx.
Possibly, yes.
So, all right. So that's looking some cool stuff for the Evercade.
Cool. Very cool. Just really quickly on my end, the only thing that I looked at that I saw today was that E3 is getting canceled or postponed like everything else is because of what's going on in the world. But IGN just announced that IGN.com just announced that they are doing a Summer of Gaming event in June. That they're saying is kind of going to be similar to E3. So there's going to be something, in terms of like maybe big news event, announcements and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool, just cool for IGN to try and put some type of event together, considering now there's a hole where E3 was supposed to be. And I'm curious to see if they're going to be able to pull in all of the major companies to make some types of announcements, especially because like I know Sony had decided not to attend E3 this year. So I'm curious to see, because with IGN, I mean, they always have news from all the major companies. So I guess we'll see what they have, what they're going to wind up slating for this Summer of Gaming event in June.
It's funny. Yeah, as much as Sony was gonna do something different, not be there physically, I thought I saw or read something that Nintendo was probably going to be at E3 with some sort of physical presence that they haven't had in the last couple of years. Xbox, Microsoft, of course, always dominating E3 as far as the stage presentations that they do. Putting aside the reason why E3 is canceled this year, I feel like that the digital way was kind of where everyone's heading. Nintendo's already done it the last few years with a Nintendo Direct. Sony did it last year, basically, and in a way, and now they have their State of Play, so they were probably heading that way as well. And this is going to force Microsoft to probably do something like this as well. I kind of feel like, I'm not saying that the writing was on the wall before all this happened, but I feel like a physical E3, probably the seeds of going completely digital probably starting to happen or starting to get planted, in my opinion, where it would have been like 5 or 10 years from now, maybe E3 is going to be completely digital regardless.
Well, I think not
completely, but
yeah. Well, I think E3 a few years ago when they actually switched to like businesses only, like it used to be open to the general public the way that like San Diego Comic-Con is.
Yeah.
But then they closed off the general public. It's just for people working in the industry. So it became more of like a CES, like Consumer Electronics Show.
Yeah.
And I think what we're probably going to see now after this year is the digital, like they'll have the digital presence for the general public, while the physical floor, the actual floor, will be open to people in the business only.
Which I understand definitely, but like also I feel like it's going to be more where a lot of times like a lot of the gaming companies will just be there to show off their games. Whereas you're still going to need the physical aspect if you're still putting out systems, unless we get to a point where like, PS5 and Xbox Series X are the last systems and they go the way of Google Stadia as far as streaming only. But yeah, you're going to need some sort of physical presence with the hardware. But yeah, to your point, I hear you on that part where the close it even more to business only. But speaking of this Summer of Gaming from IGN, it looks like they got so far 2K, Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco, Amazon, Google Stadia, Twitter, Devolver Digital, and THQ Nordic.
Yeah, so they're already making a play for a good chunk of companies. Right. So it should be interesting to see what that's going to be.
Yes. Totally. Very cool.
Speaking of Google Stadia, really quickly, Larry,
yes.
Have you been playing yours at all? I mean, you got it and then kind of went silent.
I did. Yeah, I did. Because, again, with all things I usually get, I'm excited. I get it. I play the hell out of it for a week, and then it goes to the wayside. I have not played it, not because I'm not interested, not because I don't want to. Again, it's just the Switch actually has been dominating my home console gameplay. Also considering the fact that if I want to play either the Stadia, the PS4, or the Xbox One because I've run out of inputs on the back of my TV, and I just never have found a decent working HDMI splitter. Every one I buy, just it never works properly. So, like to the point where Xbox One X doesn't even like it's rejected all of these splitters
that's so
that I've
weird.
used. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Huh.
I know I'm probably doing something wrong, but so I got to get up and physically plug and unplug these systems if I want to play them.
Oh no, the horror.
So no, it's annoying, and because then I got to get every time I think I have my HDMI wires set up good, one ends up falling behind the TV, then the rest of them fall behind the TV, and I'm not getting back there anytime soon. So I've the Stadia is in my mind. I'm still picking up the free games each month, but it's funny with Stadia. I see a lot of people always kind of giving Stadia garbage and everything. Like, oh, it's not true 4K or whatever. 8 times out of 10, it's because it's their own network that these people don't realize is they just don't have a good network.
Right.
But the games on the Stadia, and I blame it on the fact that Stadia is brand new. Like, for example, The Division 2 just came out on Google Stadia. Mm-hmm. It's been out on Xbox and PlayStation for a few months now. If not a year. No, it hasn't been a year. But it's definitely been at least 6 months. Maybe a year. In any event. And I don't know why it was so cheap, but for a little while, like, you could have gotten The Division 2 literally for $3. Wow. It's a $60 game. I don't know why, because it's not a bad game. No one's complaining about it. It was just ridiculously cheap. But where you can get it for very cheap now on Xbox and PlayStation, it's still like full price on Stadia. So that is Stadia's problem right now. They're still going full prices. And again, I get it. I know why. But
They're new.
Yeah. So, but push comes to shove, I'm going to play those games on the other systems. Yeah. But I'm still eyeing because it's still new. I just got to see the difference in the release dates because I'm eyeing Marvel's Avengers. Yes. But I do want to get it on Stadia, kind of just for the heck of it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the time frame is between those two.
Okay. Well, that's fair. Yeah. I was just curious because that kind of fell by the wayside.
It did, but again, not because I'm not interested. Just other. The Switch has literally been dominating. The Switch has been dominating my gameplay so much. I'm actually looking into a cooling stand for the
Switch. and for me, it's the complete opposite. Like my Switch has been. I've been quiet on the Switch lately.
Okay.
But only because I guess I don't have any games on there that I really need to play. Like I completed Mario Odyssey 100. I did 100% completion on that. I did 100% completion on Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. Finished Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and then outside of those games, I don't really have that many that are like pushing me back to it at the moment. Like I've got some downloads on there that I have to play, like Thimbleweed Park, which I started.
Okay.
But otherwise, and then obviously the online collection, which is awesome, playing the old NES and Super Nintendo games. Great. Absolutely great. But there's nothing right now drawing me to it. Not the way that my PlayStation 4 is, because I have so many games on my PS4 that I haven't completed that's the one that I have to go back to. My Xbox One is just a paperweight right now. I think it's been a paperweight for over a year.
Yeah, I don't call it an Xbox One. It's now a PUBG machine.
So. There you go. Yeah, see, like if I ever turn the system back on, it's basically my Rock Band 4 machine. That's pretty much the only reason why I would turn it on.
Basically. And now, so let me ask you this then, because it just dawned on me. Now that we're in this age of retro and wanting to keep everything at this point, like, do you even think about selling back your Xbox One?
No. I know. I've learned my lesson. I'm like, I have rebought every single system I have sold back. So I'd rather just keep it. Maybe I would trade it in if I bought the Xbox One X for my collection.
Okay.
Because I have the S.
Makes sense.
Right, but otherwise, no, absolutely not. It needs to stay. And again, on top of that, it's like, if you were to sell your system now, like your newer systems, and this is also something to keep in mind, you're also selling away all the games you purchased on them digitally or downloaded digitally, because you'll never have access to those again. So you're better off just keeping it for everything that you own.
Yep.
Unless
Makes
you
sense to
really
me.
don't care about it.
I mean, unless like if the PS5 is as backwards compatible as it says for the PS4, there's something that you could
Yeah.
probably think about doing. You're right with Xbox. You know, I had the Xbox One. I sold back my Xbox One after I got the Xbox One X. You know, makes sense because it just transfers over.
Yeah.
And we'll see how the Elite Series is.
Yeah.
I right.
I think the last system I ever sold back was the original Xbox. Actually, because when 360 came out, they said it was going to be fully backwards compatible, so I got rid of the Xbox. And I've yet to buy it back. I still have to buy that one back, and I've yet to own a PlayStation 3. Never owned it.
Yeah, I always find that weird that that's the one you skipped.
That's the one I skipped. Well, you know what it was when we got to that generation, I made a choice because it was PS3, Wii, Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
Of the three, I only bought the 360. I never owned the Wii during its run, and I never owned the PS3. I was like, oh, you know what? Xbox 360 has everything I want. Done, sold.
Fair enough.
You know, and I only bought a Wii like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, you did.
So, and I honestly haven't played it.
Meanwhile, you have a Wii U.
Well, I have a Wii U, which I did play, and I have a Wii, and to be honest with you, I want to pull out the Wii just to play. And this is me, of course. All the game show games that were on the Wii, because I love game show games. And I bought them all. I have Price is Right. I have Press Your Luck. I have The Amazing Race. I have like all those games that I want to play. I just haven't taken the Wii out to actually play them. We need to do. We have to figure out a way to do like a game show live stream. I think between the two of us, since we both love game shows, that would be kind of fun.
That'd be interesting. I'm sure there's a way to do that other than like Trivial Pursuit and Wheel of Fortune. So.
No. I think we can find a way to do it. I think it would be fun. We'll figure it out.
We will put 2 and 2 together on that one.
Especially because we have time now to figure it out. So.
Yes. Constantly being reminded. All right. So yeah, you know, with the, you know, it's funny, you know, again with the games and everything. So going back to E3, yeah, I think eventually it'll go digital. I think a lot of the companies are already seeing that. But to kind of step back a little bit, Nintendo, this is very interesting. This came out a few weeks ago, but Nintendo did this collaboration with Legos.
Yes.
That looks phenomenal. But it's not a traditional Nintendo way, but it's also not a traditional Lego way.
Yeah.
You know, so basically what it is, it's this Lego Super Mario adventure that it is exactly what that title says. It's a Lego set of Super Mario, but you like build a course and then you play the course.
Yeah.
Now, and I haven't really seen anything come out as far as like actual detailed descriptions on how this works, just the release trailer.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts when you saw this?
I thought that this is a kind of a perfect blend of two mediums right here, because for all intents and purposes, I feel like physical play or role play or whatever you want to call it, what kids do with actual toys, has been falling by the wayside for years. Mostly because, you know, the digital age, put a screen in front of a kid and that's it. They can do what they want. And Lego, if you haven't, for the most part, Lego has really reinvented themselves by catering to the adult with all of these collector sets. They've been licensing all of these brands for years now, so that you can build your own Millennium Falcon, or for somebody like me, you can build your Central Perk from Friends.
Yep. And my cousin just built the Millennium Falcon. He said it took him like 10 hours, but he finally did it.
Yeah, like my friend said, I think took me like 4 or 5 or maybe 4 or 5 hours to put together. Or but still, that's where Lego has gone, because the appeal for kids isn't as strong. Now, granted, they still do well with kids, but here's another avenue. Now we've got this opportunity where video gaming is becoming so big and so lucrative that Lego, to me, they're kind of like the first company to really take advantage of it, offering a physical set that becomes its own little video game adventure on top of it. So really, really clever, great collaboration by Nintendo and Lego. Now, granted, it hasn't come out yet. We need to see what the final product is going to wind up being. But if anything, it's kind of like taking Super Mario Maker and giving it, a physical interaction.
It's exactly the case. Basically, what it is, you have this giant, very un-Lego like Mario figure, but it is what it is. And he's got like he's got like this digital screen, this little digital screen on his chest. And I'm assuming you build the level however you want. You place question blocks different places, and then he's got like in the trailer, he's got like a 60-second timer, and then you just move the piece along the board, and it recognizes if you hit like a question block, and I think it's like random how many coins you get, which is pretty cool. And then you work your way through the level, and then you get to the flagpole. So again, no detailed information as far as how this plays, but to your point, Ann, I think it's a very cool kind of this
hybrid
baby coming from Nintendo and from Lego. That definitely looking forward to. It looks like it's coming out. Well, as of right now, it's scheduled for August, so we'll see how that goes. And the starter set, so there'll be other pieces to it, retailing for around $70 here in the US. So we'll, fingers crossed, we'll see what comes out with that. I'm just curious as to the detailed gameplay. Like that, I'm really interested about.
Yeah, same here. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yep, that's what we do best. Okay.
We do that.
Got anything else there on your side?
News-wise, no. I have other stuff.
Okay.
But just
here's something big that we can touch on for a little while. At first, because this came out around the end of March, and as much as we try not to delve too much into rumors, this is a rumor that's fun to talk about. It would be very interesting if it's true. I kind of thought it would be a April Fool's joke. Part of it kind of was, but part of it may not be. It's the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers. And supposedly, so don't put too much fact into this because there are none, but supposedly Nintendo is getting ready to gear up to put out a bunch of remastered or at least HD versions of almost all of Mario's adventures throughout the years onto the Switch.
Yeah, and first off, sounds really awesome depending on the games that they select, but they have a great library to choose from. Hope my standout hope will obviously be Mario is Missing or Super Mario Hotel on the CDI.
Those unfortunately were the April Fool's joke.
Damn. But no, seriously, I mean, if you think about it, imagine Mario 64 upgraded for the Switch.
Exactly. And according to, and this is from Nintendo Life, where we do get a lot of our Nintendo source, quote from Nintendo Life with an update. In addition to the report mentioned below, which is talking about what we were just mentioning, a second report from Eurogamer now lists Super Mario Galaxy as one of the confirmed remasters, alongside a couple of other 3D Mario favorites. So, yeah, I think on the Switch, like to really get those kind of like what the Switch did with New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. The game was on the Wii U. It looked gorgeous on the Wii U. They gave it a little bit of a fresh coat of paint, a couple of extra features, re-released it on the Switch, which I bought up immediately, and I love that game. But to see something like Super Mario Galaxy, which was on the Wii, get a gorgeous HD upgrade, that's a game, as much as I owned, I barely touched. We already know that you never played it, probably. Same with Super Mario Galaxy 2. Yeah. Even with Super Mario 3D World that came out on Wii U. These would be interesting and kind of assumed would get the remakes. But as you mentioned, to see Super Mario 64 with a graphical upgrade, we kind of got a tease in Switch. Super Mario Odyssey, I should say.
Yes. Yeah, because basically, I think Mario 64 would pretty much play like Super Mario Odyssey. That's kind of exactly. And it would be beautiful. I think if they're turning some of the 3D games into it, I don't think the list is a lot shorter. It makes me just think it's going to be Mario 64, Mario Galaxy, and Super Mario Sunshine. Because I can't think of any other ones that you would upgrade 3D-wise.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Basically from the N64 on. Yeah. But let's kind of do a little bit of fantasy booking here, a little armchair quarterback. I mean, could you imagine playing? And yeah, let's go back in time. So Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, amazing games, goes without question, and they're phenomenal on the NES. Fast forward to the Super Nintendo, we get Super Mario All Stars, which was probably one of the first remakes to be brought to the general public.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're talking graphical upgrades. And what would, like, back then, what was your reaction when you saw Super Mario All Stars with these graphical upgrades to these 3 classic games? Forget Lost Levels, because that's a whole different ball game. But these 3 games.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, just seeing how they even then, from 8-bit to 16-bit, just giving what upgrades they could. I mean, it was just cool to play them on the newer system. Because remember, back then, when you moved on to the next system, the old system just kind of went into a closet. You know what I mean? It's almost like you just kind of forgot about them, not like what we do today. So it's really cool to see some of the games that I loved on my original NES on the Super Nintendo, and again with a little fresh coat of paint.
Now, imagine take All Stars and giving it an even newer graphical upgrade to the point where it looks like Super Mario Deluxe, Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe.
Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing.
That would be phenomenal, and that's what I hope they would do if this is all true. Super Mario World to get a graphical upgrade, which it never has before. I think that would be pretty fantastic. I would look forward if they were to do this with the handheld. So I'm going to dip into the handheld for a moment. Now, we had about 1, 2, let me think. 1, 2, let me look. 3, 4, 5. 5 major Mario Brothers handheld games, and I'm not counting the Wario Land series. So we got Super Mario Land on Game Boy. Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, also on Game Boy. Jump to the DS. We got New Super Mario Brothers. New Super Mario Brothers 2, which I believe was still on the DS. It may have came out on the 3DS, actually. And then Super Mario 3D Land, which is definitely on the 3DS. So these 5 games are fantastic games unto themselves. Of course, to see a Game Boy game, I don't know how they would do, unless they went all in and made like Super Mario Land. Even change Super Mario Land from Game Boy to 8-bit NES Super Mario Land. I'll take that.
Yeah, that's a good change.
That'd be cool. Now, Super Mario Land 2 did look a lot more like the NES version, or even kind of like the Super NES version. But let's colorize those. Let's bring those into the modern era. I think that would be pretty sweet. And again, some of the best new Super Mario Brothers, probably one of the best platformers. Up to that point, came out in 2006. One of the best platformers for a Mario game, probably since the original Super Mario Brothers. Okay. It was fantastic. If they do this, I really hope they go all in and just do all of these. 16 games. Do all 16 games, and just do them up right. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, time will tell. We'll find. I mean, as always with Nintendo, they have a deep library to dip into. So who knows what we're gonna see?
And let's face facts. If they just re-release these games as is, I'm still all in.
Of course.
And then, of course, they also mentioned a new Paper Mario game. I've never really got into the Paper Mario series. It's a great series. Don't get me wrong, but we'll see about that as time goes on. No release dates, obviously. No even proof that this is happening, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, time. Again, we will find out.
Alrighty, cool.
Let's see. So one thing to bring up also that I wanted to talk about this week really quickly, mostly because I actually did manage to go video game shopping and pick up a game this week.
Curbside pickup.
Curbside pickup, which, by the way, I'm kind of liking. You order it online, you show up, I ordered let's just show it off, because this week we got Resident Evil 3.
Oh, look at that.
The remake, or not the remake, the remaster. Gotta make the difference. So the remaster of Nemesis, which I played on the Dreamcast and never beat. I got to the end and could not beat Nemesis, which stinks. And I pre-ordered it the day before because they had some type of steelbook thing that came with it. I haven't opened it yet, but
Okay. The
literally
game's not in the Steelbook?
no, the
That's
game,
weird.
Well, the game's not here. The game's in my system right now.
Oh,
Um,
but still, you would think, all right,
but
interesting.
yeah, so the plus to it was it came with a steelbook, so I pre-ordered it the night before, and it still counted as a pre-order, which is great.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love that. One thing and what I love about curbside pickup is you pull into the parking lot. They have parking spots available for curbside pickup. You go into your email where you got the receipt, and you press a little button and tell them you're there, and then you just wait, and then they literally just walk out. They hand it to you, and you leave, or they put it in your trunk so there's no
I
human
haven't seen
interaction,
that. Yeah.
and you leave.
which is
Yeah.
what we're gearing up.
Which is what
Welcome
we're
to
doing right now.
Wally.
The
Yeah.
only drawback to it, and you'll get a kick out of this, is I have no physical receipt to put in my game.
Just print up the one you got in your email and
I'm
fold
gonna
it
have to
9
do that.
times.
It's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
Like 20 years from now, I want to open up that physical receipt to see it all worn and be like, oh look, I bought this. Like
As it unfolds as you open up
Yes.
the box.
exactly. Oh yeah.
You know
so,
what?
So I managed to pick this up.
That's cool. All
which
right,
is
so
cool.
you're still getting new
And
stuff.
also a cool bonus with this game. I'm a big Dead by Daylight fan, which is an online multiplayer.
Mhm.
There's an add-on to this game called Project Resistance,
Okay.
where it's a 4-on-1 online multiplayer, where you either play as one of the survivors.
Oh, Resident Evil Resistance. Yeah.
Yeah, Project Resistance.
Yeah.
So you either play as the survivor or you can play as the mastermind. And the
Mhm.
mastermind basically sets up the level for you. Not to like you have to go through and achieve things, but along the way the mastermind will put zombies and
Yeah.
zombie dogs, and he can shoot you through the
Oh.
the
That's not
security
good.
cameras are set up with like machine guns that will shoot you and stuff. And obviously the object is for the survivors to get through each room
Mhm.
and escape at the end, and then the mastermind is there to stop you. So far, never survived because I played the demo version.
Oh, that's what
when
I
it came out,
downloaded.
like
Yeah.
like a week ago or so. Never survived, but now this one's got like no, this is the full thing. It's got different levels to it. There are more characters. There are more masterminds. So I'm curious. I haven't played through it yet because I was busy with another game, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah. So really really cool. I also want to play through the Resident Evil remake, the
Mhm.
remaster, but I haven't even opened my Resident Evil 2 one.
Oh.
And I want to play through that as well. So
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I could have sworn Resistance was going to be a completely separate game. I didn't realize it's just part of Resident Evil 3.
well,
That's
no.
pretty cool.
That's what we all thought because when
Yeah.
I saw Resistance last year at Comic-Con,
Mhm.
I remember seeing it and I'm like, oh, I go, this is really interesting. And I'm like, ooh, I go, maybe it'll replace Dead by Daylight. Which so far I haven't found a game online that grabs my attention as much as Dead by Daylight. I tried the Predator demo also.
Okay.
Last week. I wasn't generally impressed with it.
I think you
So-
mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming out. Ilphonic is making it. They're the same company that made the Friday the 13th online game
Mhm.
and then lost the rights to it.
See how long they hold on to Predator.
Well, exactly. Well, no, they have the rights for Predator, but it didn't grab me. Probably the biggest issue for me will always be that that first person esque
Yes.
perspective.
Yeah, you hate that.
I can't handle that. I just can't handle that. I'm not really good at it. And it gives me a headache. So like I play like 2 rounds and I'm like, okay, I need to take a break. I was like, I'm getting a headache. So but otherwise, like I played as Predator, I played as the guys getting dropped in the jungle and stuff.
Mhm.
It's okay for what it is, but nothing really outwardly grabbing me. Project Resistance to me has there's a little more to it.
Yeah.
So, and the third person perspective is very helpful. I haven't played as Mastermind yet, but
Okay.
as a survivor, it's been pretty cool. So,
Yeah, I saw it. You saw it at Comic-Con. I saw it. Well, you saw it at San Diego Comic-Con. I saw it at New York Comic-Con, and I thought it looked fantastic. Watching the demo there. But all right, so I kind of like that it's part of Resident Evil 3, so you kind of get 2 in 1. So
yeah, exactly. So if you're gonna buy Resident Evil 3, which I obviously recommend because it's an amazing game, you get Project Resistance as a bonus with it. So,
cool.
So if you've ever wanted to dip your toe into online multiplayer, don't do it. Project Resistance comes with Resident Evil 3, which is kind of cool.
Awesome. Speaking of pre-orders, I pulled the trigger and I did pre-order Final Fantasy VII Remastered.
Very nice.
So, or
Physical or
remake.
digital?
No, remaster. I get them
Remake.
confused.
It's the remake.
Have you seen, real quick, have you seen Jane Silent Bob Reboot?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Great movie. First of all, you haven't seen it. It's on Amazon Prime, actually. So you can check it out. It's very funny. And they have a whole scene about remake versus reboot. And this is me right now with remake versus remastered.
Yes. It's confusing.
It's very confusing. And the way they do remake versus reboot in the Jay Silent Bob movie, the description is hysterical. So go watch it. Okay. But so I am all right. I pre-ordered the Final Fantasy VII new one that's coming out April 10th.
Digital or physical?
Oh, of course, digital.
Okay.
Always
yeah, because you'll probably get it before I do, because again, and not to bring it up all the time, but because of the current situation, non-essential packages aren't getting delivered on schedule, which is completely understandable. But that also means my Final Fantasy VII remake, which I ordered the physical copy for. And I ordered the I forget which bundle I ordered, but it's coming with a hardcover book. Also.
Oh, that's cool. All right.
Yeah, so I ordered that one because it's Final Fantasy VII. It's like one of my favorite games of all time. So I may not get it on time, which will be this Friday the 10th. Gotcha.
With that whole non-essential thing, apparently doesn't work on this block because there's been packages and boxes that I've been getting. Everything has been non-essential, and I've been getting it very quickly.
Well, and it's entirely possible that some things will show up on time.
I would have done digital anyway, as you know.
Yeah, and I wouldn't.
And there was a digital. It was like digital, then like a digital bundle for Final Fantasy VII. But I was like, I'll just go with the regular standard edition. I'm fine with. So I got that. In fact, I think it's already pre-downloaded. Oh no, that's a lie. It will pre-download on the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll already be ready to go on the 10th.
All right. Well, that's cool.
So when I clock out work at 4:30, I can start playing it at 4:32.
Awesome. Yeah, kind of the bonus, right? It's like the minute I clock out, it's like my PlayStation goes on.
I just literally, it's going to be, in fact, this is where my workstation is going to be because I'm moving some things around. Literally, I'm going to be like, and I'm done. Okay, here we go.
That's about me. I'm about 5 seconds away from work and home. So more or less. But so Final Fantasy VII comes out on the 10th. If you haven't played the demo yet, highly recommend just downloading the demo. We live streamed it.
That's what got me to. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. So I watched you play the demo, and it looked awesome. And I know you love Final Fantasy VII, and I recognize the impact Final Fantasy VII has on gaming. But I really, to the point that I just pre-ordered it. Literally, actually this morning. I pre-ordered it this morning. I wasn't gonna really get it because I'm just like, I'm not interested. I saw you play the demo. I was like, ooh, that looks very interesting. I then played the demo, and I'm like, oh, this is extremely interesting. Mm-hmm. And that's basically then a little bit of birthday money, and that's basically what got me to pull the trigger.
Well, you know what? I think the big change that's going to make it appealing to more people, and when I say more people, I mean more non-RPG fans, is the fact that they changed the battle system.
Yes.
And that's really what it comes down to, because I know a lot of people get turned off with that turn-based battle system in RPGs. Yeah, exactly. And it's just it just kills the game for you. I was like, the fact that you're able to do your battles in real time now, kind of like the way Kingdom Hearts introduced that. And maybe they weren't the ones to introduce it, but that's the first game I remember playing where I'm like, oh, I was like, this is kind of cool. So now that they're doing that with Final Fantasy VII, I think it just turns it into a completely different game, and it's going to open it up to non-RPG fans.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it did. At least it did with this one. So
very cinematic too. Like it plays very cinematic. Yeah. Which is nice.
I kind of skipped through that part for the demo. I just wanted to get to the gameplay. But when I get the game, I'm going to sit through it. And what was I'm trying to think of a game that I was just playing that you can basically just sit there and watch through it. I can't remember what it was, but to change the subject just for one moment, game-wise, have you ever played these recent, they're full motion, they're basically movie video games. It's the only thing I can call them. There's one called The Late Shift that was out on some of the systems. Like, basically, they film a movie, and, like, you make the choices as you go along. and whatever choice you go, it goes into different directions and stuff like that. They've had them forever. Don't get me wrong, but now like they're doing like almost like big budget type games. And I just downloaded one on the Switch. I think you can get them on any system. It is. Holy cow! I forgot the name of
it. Is it called? Are they actual like live action movies, or are we talking?
It's a movie. It is a movie.
Okay.
Holy Lord! Hopefully, there's gonna be some editing here for a second because now I completely.
No, I was wondering if you were going more along the lines of like an Until Dawn or Man of Medan kind of style, or just Become Human, where it's a video game, but the choices you make dictate where the story goes.
Choices you make dictate where the story goes, but it's actual
live action film. Well, then it's Night Trap.
Basically, yes,
Ish.
But yeah. Here's all right.
Well, you figure it out. I'm gonna go on to a different topic.
Fine. Do that. All right.
You try and figure that out. But when I was talking about Resident Evil 3, I had mentioned that I haven't started playing, Project Resistance yet because I was distracted by another game. I wanted to bring up because we haven't talked about the 2020 video game challenge that we're doing.
No, not much.
But I have a new game to add to the list because I just completed. Yeah, I want to say, was it yesterday? No, it was Friday. It was Friday night. I live streamed the ending of Shadow of the Colossus for PlayStation.
Very good.
Yeah, the remastered for the PlayStation 4.
Which would count that one because there really is no change to the game
There's
system.
no change to the gameplay. And I have to say, not only is that probably the most beautiful game I have ever seen.
It is.
It really is. Like, it blew my mind. Watching that game, just watching it blew my mind. Forget about playing. But it was challenging. It was just absolutely fantastic adventure all the way through. Very dark too. If you're paying attention to the story, it's a very dark story. And for those of you who may have downloaded it for free on PlayStation Plus last month, because it was one of the free games, I cannot recommend going through it enough. I really can't. Absolutely stunning game. And now that I'm done with it, I'm actually going back to do, like, I try to get the other trophies. Like, I don't have that many games on my PlayStation 4 where I'm 100%. This is a game where I kind of want to go back through it and catch all the pieces that I missed, no matter, like, despite how simple it is and everything. It's like Breath of the Wild to me. It's like, it's just beautiful to kind of ride through the game and look at it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's on the PS4. This game looked gorgeous originally on the PS2.
Yeah,
when I first got it.
Yeah, which is insane. And the Colossi that you fight, every single one of them, like, it's just like it didn't matter how, there are 16 of them in the game, but every single time one of them shows up, like, I'm literally sitting there staring at it in awe. And I'm like, wow, like, this thing is beautiful, and now I got to kill it.
Yeah, that's what we do. So I'm very happy. So you got that on the list, which is awesome. So good to go. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it, but I got to pick up my gaming.
Granted, you're still ahead in the challenge.
No, so far, but you're starting to up on me. All right. Hey, listen, a lead's a lead. So
that's okay. I'm perfectly happy because you won't find Where's Waldo on my list.
Well, that's fun. Hashtag quantity over quality. But I'm happy that you did beat it though. So very cool. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not want to watch the stream because I did not want to see the ending. Because even though it's been like 20 years since that game originally came out, I still, at some point before I die, having a will to beat that game.
Nice.
So we'll see. Okay, so to go back to what the hell I was trying to figure out, the game is called The Complex, and it's an interactive movie. An interactive movie that has gotten 95 out of 100, like 4.25 stars, 4.5 stars from digitally downloaded. Horror cult film gave it 4.25 stars, 8.5 out of 10.
Is this on PS4?
It is available on everything. PS4, Switch, Xbox, and Steam. I got it on Switch.
What's the name of it again?
The Complex.
The Complex. Okay.
Now, the reason why I bought it originally, every Tuesday, I go on Switch and I go to the coming soon section just to see what's coming out. And as I'm scrolling,
I'm
I
actually
see,
going to the store
yeah,
as we speak.
no, it's this, and the store, like, you can press start on the game and just
Hmm.
put your controller down, because if you don't make a decision, one's made for you,
Oh,
and
that's kind of cool.
you can kind of just sit there and watch it.
Nice.
The reason why I picked it up though is because the lead in this game, in this interactive movie, is Michelle Milette. Now, I
Okay.
know Michelle Milette because I'm scrolling through and I'm like, Katie. For the very few of you probably who've caught this show, there's a show on Hulu up in Canada. It's by Crave called Letterkenny. It is hysterical.
Okay.
Letterkenny is fantastic.
I've heard that's
Um,
really good. Somebody recommended it to me recently after I finished
me,
Schitt's Creek. No,
oh,
somebody I work with.
language,
What? Oh,
language.
that's the name. No, no, that's the name of the show, and it's spelled Schitt. It's their last name.
Like Meet the Fockers.
Yeah, exactly. Their last name is Shit. Schitt.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So I'm scrolling through. I'm like, what the hell's Katie doing on my Switch? Because Katie is the sister of the lead in Letterkenny. And I was supposed to see Letterkenny live in March, but be that as it may.
Yes.
So I'm like, this is interesting. So, and I look at the trailer. I'm like, oh, this looks really interesting. I've seen these interactive movies before, but I never really pulled the trigger on them because I'm like, all you do is just, it's like a 50-50. You just choose and it moves on. But when I saw the trailer, and admittedly, I like her as an actress. I think she's funny, even though this is not a comedy. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll throw some money towards that. I'll do it. And I played it Friday. I think I played it Friday. First of all, maybe not the best story to play right now in the current situation that we're in. I'm just going to leave it at that. But with that being said, great interaction, great story, and the way the game plays is with your decisions. Not only does it dictate the game, there's 9 different endings to unlock. There's like 100 and something different scenes to unlock. There's 80 different. There's something else to unlock, and you have like this meter that runs kind of based on your decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And a percentage of how much people like you or trust you, which changes throughout the game. I went through the game the first time, and I was considered neurotic. In my decisions, I was deemed neurotic, which I thought was very funny.
I was gonna say I can see that being me.
Yeah, yeah, with some of the decisions in this game. And the replay value is definitely there if there's 9 endings.
Oh yeah, no question.
I gotta imagine though, like the more you play it though, some of it's got to repeat, so you probably get a little like her. But I highly recommend the complex. But because of how much I'm loving this, I may go back and check out some of these other interactive movies because they're done beautifully.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that being the case, I also highly recommend you checking out some of the interactive games. Like Until Dawn was fantastic. And again, it all like there were different endings based on the decisions you made, and it actually determined who lived and who died in the game. It was a horror movie game where you chose what happened. Same thing with Detroit Become Human and Man of Medan. It's all based on the decisions you make that dictate the story that unfolds.
Was Man of Medan with actual actors and actresses?
The only actor in there that I knew was Aaron Ashmore.
No. I mean, like, was it live action?
No. These are video games, but basically it was almost like the actors do the acting. They just scan them.
What was that movie?
What?
Years ago they did that with Keanu Reeves. Like they just like
Johnny Mnemonic?
No, Scanner Darkly.
Scanner Darkly.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
No, but this, which is cool. And Man of Medan, I heard excellent things about. I do want to pick that up, but at least check out the trailer for the complex.
But
because the story itself,
I'll definitely check out Complex. I recommend you play Until Dawn first.
All right, fair enough.
You'll like it. And also, the 2 of the stars in Until Dawn, Hayden Panettiere is the lead.
Okay.
I was like, and a young pre-Oscar winning Rami Malek is one of the characters.
Oh, he's in it too? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, he's in it too.
Awesome.
And then
Belting up Rhapsody?
Pre-Bohemian. And I think the other person in there that I knew was is his name Brett Dalton? I don't know. He was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a few seasons. So, but again, it was a really cool horror movie based game where you choose the path.
and it's funny because as I was getting through, because the only one I can talk about is the complex, the only one I played, and it was probably like a good 45 minutes to an hour. It lasted. Like it wasn't a full movie, but
Yeah.
And like you're sitting there and you have a timer to make these decisions. And I'm like, but as the game gets on, you feel the nerve, like, what, like, I gotta make a decision.
Yeah.
And it was pretty wacky. It's pretty interesting. So
All right.
I may have because you know why? Because with games like on the Sega CD, double the hell was that called?
Double Switch.
Double Switch. I was gonna say Double Impact. Double Switch, Night Trap, things like that. Not Corpse Killer, but it was another one. I forgot the name of it. But those, yeah, you had to make the decisions and everything was going on in real time. But this is, like you're saying, this is just you're given 2 or 3 decisions to make, and you kind of just run with it. So,
exactly.
All right, so this may be a new genre that I'm going to be discovering. That
you should definitely give it a try. I don't think it'll disappoint. Now, there's another genre that a friend of mine introduced me to that will probably not be up your alley, and it's fairly popular in Japanese culture, but it's kind of like an interactive novel. The way you remember the Choose Your Adventure books when we were kids, and you read it, and it's like, oh, if you want to do this, go to page 60. If you want to do that, same thing with these games. Like my friend of mine played with me. I think it was called like 428 Shibuya Scramble. It was called.
Okay.
Shibuya is an area in Japan.
Okay.
But basically, they get live actors and they do some video sequences. The majority of it are still images. And then they give you the story on the screen, and you read the story, and then you make a decision, and your decision will dictate what happens next. So it's just a way of taking the interactive novel and making it into an actual video game. And apparently they're very popular in Japan, and they're starting to make their way over to the US. And just watching him play it, it was really interesting because it made me want to buy it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, again, it's one of those things where it's like you're really dictating where the story goes, and there are good endings and there are bad endings. So like, if you make the wrong choice, you get a bad ending, and you have to go back and figure out where you went wrong, and then make the right decision. And then the other cool thing is they have multiple characters that you take control of. So, like, if there are 5 characters in the game, the decisions you make with character 1 will affect what happens to character 2 or 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, so, and eventually they'll all converge together if you do everything, the way you're supposed to.
All right.
But again, really interesting. Another twist on a genre I haven't, that I'm really interested in trying now.
See, my problem is I would do that, but I fall asleep when I read. Like quickly, so then my system will just sit there and overheat and probably just burn the whole place down. So
well, that put your system on a timer so it shuts itself off.
I should.
But very interesting.
All right, but it's interesting. Yes, very interesting. All right, cool. The last thing I have to mention, this is more new, but I got to mention it because it was fantastic, and just kind of the way it worked out was hysterical. So, PUBG, Player Unknown's Battleground. Myself, actually the co-host of the Better Half podcast, Frank Messina, my cousin Eric, and our friend Verdi, who's been on the show before. The 4 of us have been playing it on and off. Now, these 3 maniacs love to play at about 10:30 at night. I'm usually sound asleep. So, and each of them have kids. So, I guess this is by the time they're done putting their kids to bed, they're still up. Me, it's terrible. But once in a blue moon, I'm on there. We play in a 4 squad. And if you don't know by now, PUBG pretty much is the one that started this whole battle royale. Just 100 players, or teams of 4 or whatever. Just go down, you land, you find your weapons, and you just play till it's last man standing. So it is what it is. And we've played many times. In fact, I think my stats are like 221 games I've played. Been in the top 10, maybe like 5 or 6 times or whatever, but never got the win. Never got the winner chicken dinner, as it says every time someone wins. Very popular streaming. In fact, to a point where a couple of times with Frank and my cousin Eric, they get a shot off, they kill a player, they kill a streamer. And you can look up, if you look up your name, you can find the clip of that streamer, whether he kills you or he gets killed by you.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And it's hysterical because like the first time this happened when Frank killed a streamer, and Frank's been playing for a while. You see the streamer playing, he gets killed, like, oh, must be some sort of noob, lucky shot. I mean, the streamer was being a total jerk, but it was hysterical.
Of course.
So anyway, so we're playing 4-man squad. So you do the math. 4 on a squad is 100 players, however many teams there are. So
25.
There we go. So we're playing through, and I'm not the best at the game, so I'm usually one of the first or second one to die. So now there's like 10 minutes. There's the game's not timed, but it was like the game lasted a half hour. Yeah. So for like the last 10 minutes of the game, it was just me. Eric, Frank, and Verdi are all gone. They're dead, but they can spectate. You can still spectate your team.
Of course.
So they're still assisting me. They're helping me out. But I'm running like a maniac. I'm panicking. I don't know what's going on. I'm right because in the game, the level keeps shrinking down, almost like Battle Royale, like the movie Battle Royale. Keep shrinking until it's like a little dot. So now I'm hiding out. I'm in a house. I'm hiding out. And the running joke right now is the fact that I got like these level 1 guns on me. Like, I barely upgraded anything. I got a shotgun. No one ends a game with a shotgun. So it's the worst gun in the game.
Okay.
So there I am, hiding in one of the houses. Turns out where I am, the zone keeps closing, but I kind of am in the middle still of the zone. So I got a good spot. So I'm just waiting there. I'm waiting there. Finally, I hear someone enter the house. I hear them going up the stairs. They open the door. Bam! Got him. Like, oh. So now I'm like, of 100 people, we're down to 4, and I finally got my first kill in this game.
Okay.
Okay, so, and you can see the remaining number of people dwindle. Then it gets down to 2, and I'm like, oh my God. You know,
it's you and one other person.
It's me and somebody else, and I'm sure somebody else is a lot better than I am. The screen closes one more time. Now I'm out of the zone. So now I have no choice because it forces you into a battle.
Right.
So I jump out the window. I run around. The guy tags me a couple of times, but somehow doesn't kill me. And this guy's got like the best gun in the game. I turn around to the entrance. He's reloading. I shoot him with a shotgun square in the face. Game over. Nice. So now I'm sitting there like, and I hear silence. The 3 of them are silent. All of a sudden, they're like, no. Wait, did he just do this? Did he just win? And then it says, winner, winner, chicken dinner. And I was like, oh my God. So I finally got a win. And I was the last person surviving on my squad. So it was just me. I wanted to stop playing right then and there, but I have to play the next morning in solo mode, and I got my butt handed to me each and every time. So trust me, I lucked out. But I finally got my win in PUBG. Actually uploaded the video to there's a Facebook group that we're part of, like a PUBG group, and everyone, a lot of thanks. That's awesome. And then finally after the congratulations, it gets like a shotgun. Really? Look at this guy. Like, he's got terrible weapons, but he won. Congratulations. And someone accused me of being a bot, which I think is awesome.
That's awesome. I think you need to share that on our YouTube page. It's not retro gaming, but still.
Yeah, it's only like a 30-second clip, but I can definitely put that
That's
up.
all good, man. Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. I need, after the week that I was having, trust me, and I rode that win for about 2 days.
As you should. As you should. Especially with something like that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So good. Yeah, so awesome work.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm not counting it as part of the contest, but it was very cool.
Count as part of the contest.
So,
oh man, very cool.
That's about it. That's about it for me.
All right, yeah, no, and I'm good as well. I think I think this was a good episode where we just I like it when we shoot off the cuff.
I love shooting from the hip. That's what I do best. Well, that's what I do. Yes. All right, awesome. Ant, where can they find us?
You guys can find us on Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast, on Instagram @RetroGamersPodcast, on Twitter @RetroGamersPod, and at theretrogamers.com. You can also email us at email@theretrogamers.com. And also watch and listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also watch us on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We would love to get some more subscribers if you guys enjoy us. Also, leave us some really awesome reviews. I know Larry usually give this stick, but it's my turn. Leaving us some positive reviews is also really helpful. We appreciate every one of them, and we appreciate every one of you who come out and listen or watch every week.
Absolutely. And we actually had real quick, We did have someone ask, when I was doing my live wrestling WrestleMania thing, someone was like, "Oh, you guys should do that for the retro gamers." And we actually started. We did it once, very periodically, but we did it on Instagram. We'll probably try it on Facebook at one point.
Yep.
Maybe sometime this week coming up, and we'll try and figure something
I think
out.
we definitely should.
To do basically like a live episode. Maybe even do a live episode like that. Hopefully field questions, field comments from all you guys. And we're looking to do that as well in the future because we love interacting with you. We love, your comments, and we definitely want to mention more of them on the show. And with that, I think we'll call it a week. I got to get ready again for night 2 of WrestleMania. For my WrestleMania live stream, watch along. A lot of people, my mother texted me. She's like, "Why can't I see WrestleMania?" I'm like, "Because that would be illegal." So you're just getting me and my reactions.
That's right.
So awesome. And actually, I guess I'll talk to you later tonight, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll see you on the watch party.
Awesome. And everyone, we will catch you right here next week on the Retro Gamers Podcast.